Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today is Saturday, February 9th, 2019. Today I'm going to recap yesterday's college basketball, NBA, and NHL results, look ahead to tonight's slate, each of those games, and I'll give out my best bet of the day. I'm going to try to be quick here. The college hoops we go. St. Joseph's defeats St. Louis 91-61. Harvard defeats Columbia 98-96 in triple overtime, and it was just a phenomenal game. Penn beats Brown 92-82. Siena beats Manhattan 51-49. Yale defeats Princeton 74-60. Quinnipiac defeats Iona 66-65. Canisius defeats Rider 81-80. Cornell defeats Dartmouth 83-80. Marist defeats Niagara 79-58. Yale Monroe defeats Georgia Southern 88-79. Louisiana defeats Georgia State 76-72. And Akron defeats Kent State 72-53. Monster slate today in college hoops. 12 o'clock on Fox, you have number 19, Wisconsin, at number 7, Michigan. Michigan's favored by 7. Revenge game for Michigan. I'm going to say they win, but Wisconsin covers because that number's too big. I think it should be like a 4.5 point spread. Miami at number 8, North Carolina on the ACC Network. Carolina's favored by 16. They'll win and cover. On ESPN2, you have number 11, Virginia Tech at Clemson. Clemson's actually a 2.5 point favorite. I think the wrong team's favored. I'm taking Virginia Tech to win on the road. On ESPN, you have Oklahoma State at number 13, Kansas. Kansas is favored by 11.5. I think they win and cover, even though they don't have Uzika Azubuike anymore, and Oklahoma State is just not a good team. So give me Kansas to win by double digits and obviously cover. Providence at St. John's on the CBS Sports Network. St. John's is favored by 6.5 points. I think that line's very big. The game's at the Garden. That crowd's going to be fired up. Give me St. John's to win. I'd say they cover too, even though I think Providence, I don't think they're a bad team. I just think St. John's wins by like 9. Butler at Georgetown. Georgetown's a 2-point favorite. They'll win and they'll cover. Bucknell is hosting Boston University. Temple at Tulsa on ESPNU. Temple's favored by 2. Trap game for Temple, of course. But I'm going to say they win and cover. 1 o'clock CBS. Number 5 Kentucky at Mississippi State. Kentucky's favored by 3.5. I think they win and they cover. Davidson and UMass. Davidson's favored by 8. I think they win and cover. UIC at IUPUI. Stanford at VMI. Ole Miss at Georgia on the SEC Network. Miss is favored by 3. And it's suggesting that it's a trap game, but who cares? I think they win and cover. I just don't think Georgia's a good team. Binghamton at New Hampshire. Monmouth at Fairfield. 2 o'clock on ESPN. Minnesota at number 9, Michigan State. Michigan State's favored by 14. I'm going to say Michigan State wins, but Minnesota covers. TCU at number 17, Iowa State on ESPNU. Iowa State's favored by 10.5. That line's too big. I think Iowa State wins, but TCU covers. Auburn at number 21, LSU. LSU's favored by 3. I think LSU wins and covers. Northern Illinois at Eastern Michigan. Charleston Southern at UNC Asheville. VCUSA Bonaventure on the CBS Sports Network. VCU's favored by 2. They'll win and cover. Albany at Vermont. Hampton at Winthrop. ACC Network. Boston College at Syracuse. Syracuse is favored by 10.5. I think they win and cover. San Jose State at Boise State. Boise's favored by 18.5. They'll win and cover. Colorado State at Wyoming. Colorado State's favored by 5.5. They'll win. I'm going to say Wyoming covers and sticks around. I think Colorado State's looking ahead a little bit. Army and American. Loyola Maryland at Colgate. Ohio at Miami of Ohio. Western Michigan at Ball State. NC State at Pitt on the ACC Network. NC State's favored by 3. Pitt's due for an upset win at home. I'm going to say they get one here. Duquesne at Fordham. Duquesne's favored by 2.5. I think they win and cover. 2:30 on Fox. Number 14 Villanova. Number 10 Marquette. Marquette's a 1.5 favorite. Guess what? I think Villanova finally loses a Big East game today. Give me Marquette to win and cover. 3 o'clock Mount St. Mary's at Sacred Heart. Arkansas State at Troy. Appalachian State at UT Arlington. Milwaukee at Cleveland State. 3:30 Central Michigan at number 23 Buffalo. Buffalo's favored by 16. I'm going to say Buffalo wins, but Central covers. Central's not a bad team in the MAC. SEC Network, Arkansas, South Carolina. South Carolina's favored by 1.5. I'm going to say they get it done at home to get above 500. Florida at number 1, Tennessee. Tennessee's favored by 11. I think they win and cover. ESPN2, 16 Louisville, 22 Florida State. Florida State's favored by 3. Florida State needs this game. I think Louisville's due for a loss. So give me Florida State to win and cover in a close one. ESPNU, number 18, Texas Tech at Oklahoma. Texas Tech favored by 1. I think Oklahoma pulls off the home upset. Central Connecticut State at Robert Morris. Charleston at Drexel. Alana at Northeastern. The Citadel at Mercer. Delaware State at North Carolina A&T. Howard at Florida A&M. Big Ten Network, Rutgers at Illinois. Illinois favored by 6. I'm going to say that Rutgers actually pulls this one out on the road as a 6-point dog. CBS Sports Network, Dayton at Rhode Island. Rhode Island favored by 1.5. I'm going to say that they win and cover. I don't feel super about it. Fairleigh Dickinson at St. Francis, Brooklyn. High Point at Radford. Morgan State at South Carolina State. East Tennessee State at Furman. These two teams are combined 38-11. Furman's favored by 2. I'm going to say that they win and cover. Northwestern State at McNeese. Idaho at Montana State. Little Rock at South Alabama. FAU at UTSA. Norfolk State at Bethune-Cookman. William & Mary at Hofstra. San Diego at Pepperdine. Maryland Eastern at NC Central. Idaho State at Southern Utah. Weber State at Northern Arizona. James Madison at Towson. 4:30 NJIT at Kennesaw State. Tennessee Tech at UT Martin. Navy at Lehigh. North Florida at North Alabama. Wagner at LU Brooklyn. South Carolina Upstate at Campbell. Gardner-Webb at Presbyterian. Sacramento State at Northern Colorado. Belmont at Morehead State. 5 o'clock Jacksonville at Lipscomb. Louisiana Tech at the Southern Miss. Southeast Louisiana at Central Arkansas. Coastal Carolina at Texas State. Fresno at UNLV. Fresno favored by 1.5. I'm going to say UNLV takes it at home as a dog. Eastern Illinois at Austin Peay. Denver at North Dakota State. 5 o'clock on Fox. Utah at UCLA. UCLA is a 4-point favorite. Neither of these teams are very good, but I'm going to take UCLA to win and cover. Don't feel super about it. 5:15 North Dakota at South Dakota State. Nichols at New Orleans. 5:30 Jacksonville State at Southeast Missouri State. Lamar and Stephen at Boston. Pac-12 Network, Cal at Oregon State. Oregon State favorite 4.5. They'll win and cover because Cal is so bad. Game of the night, 6 o'clock on ESPN. Number 2 Duke and number 3 Virginia. These two teams are combined 40-3. Virginia is favored by 1.5. Duke won by 2 points in the first matchup at Cameron Indoor, in which Virginia got the late push at the end of the game. I think Virginia actually wins this game. They're home. Their crowd's going to be fired up. And they'll make themselves a case to be the number 1 overall seed come Selection Sunday. So give me Virginia to win and cover. I think this will be a Virginia. Let's go with a 4-point win at home. They put it away at the free throw line. CBS Sports Network, New Mexico, number 6, Nevada. Nevada favored by 21. They are going to destroy New Mexico. They'll win. They'll cover. This is a revenge game for them because Mexico is the team that handed Nevada their only loss this year. Arkansas Pine Bluff at Alabama State. Northern Iowa at Drake. Toledo at Bowling Green. These two teams combined are 35-10. Bowling Green is a 2-point favorite. I'm going to say they win and cover. The MAC has 3 good teams. These 2 teams that are playing each other, Buffalo, and then some okay teams like Central Michigan. Oh, Kent State's a good team. I'll put them in that tier at Buffalo as well. Also at 6 o'clock, George Washington and Richmond. Richmond's favored by 6.5. Richmond's played well in the Atlantic 10. I think they win and they cover. Princeton at Brown. A&M at Missouri on the SEC Network. Missouri's favored by 4. They'll win and cover. That line's too low. Coppin State at Savannah State. Green Bay at Youngstown State. ESPN 2. Kansas State at Baylor. Baylor's favored by 3. I'm going to say that they bounce back from the bad loss against Texas and they get the cover as well. Western Kentucky at North Texas. Grambling at Southern at 6:30. Jackson State at Alcorn State. Western Carolina at Wofford at 7. Penn at Yale. Tennessee State at Eastern Kentucky. Detroit Mercy at Wright State. Columbia at Dartmouth. Florida Gulf Coast at Liberty. Old Dominion at Middle Tennessee. UNC Greensboro at Chattanooga. Oakland at Northern Kentucky. Bryant at St. Francis, Pennsylvania. UMass Lowell at Stony Brook. UNC Wilmington at Delaware. Cornell at Harvard. Sam Houston State at Abilene Christian. Mississippi Valley State at Alabama A&M. 7:30 Washington State at Arizona. Arizona's favored by 11.5. Washington State coming off their big win. I'm going to say they have a letdown here, although they get the cover. 8 o'clock, Cal State Fullerton and UC Riverside. Fox Sports 1, DePaul at Xavier. Xavier's favored by 4. They'll win and cover. ESPN 2, Texas at West Virginia. Texas is favored by 4. I think Texas is going to look past West Virginia and the Mountaineers take advantage. So Mountaineers get another home victory on a Saturday. Indiana State at Bradley. Evansville at Southern Illinois. Tulane at Wichita State. Wichita's favored by 13.5. As bad as Tulane's been, I think this is too big of a number. But I'm going to say that Wichita does cover the number because Tulane is that bad, and Wichita gets above 500. Marshall at Rice, Charlotte at UAB, CBS Sports Network, Creighton at Seton Hall. Seton Hall's favored by 3.5. Seton Hall's due for a big win. I'm going to say they get it here and they cover. Incarnate Word at Texas A&M, Corpus Christi. SIU Edwardsville at Murray State. 8:30 Big Ten Network, Nebraska at number 15, Purdue. Purdue's favored by 12. Nebraska's season has gone to hell. I'm going to say Purdue wins and covers. SEC Network, Alabama at Vanderbilt. Bama's favored by 3. Trap game, sure, but Bama needs it more. They're the better team. Give me Bama, the win and cover on the road. Prairie View at Texas Southern. 9 o'clock FIU at UTEP. New Mexico State at Grand Canyon. Pacific at BYU. Eastern Washington at Montana. ESPN 2 at 10 o'clock. St. Mary's at number 4. Gonzaga. Gonzaga's favored by 17. They'll win and they'll cover. Utah State at San Diego State. Utah State's favored by 3.5. I think this is a trap game. San Diego State pulls off the home upset. ESPN U, Colorado at USC. USC's favored by 4.5. I'm going to say that USC wins, but Colorado covers. Long Beach State at Cal Poly. UMKC at Cal Baptist. Hawaii at UC Irvine. Texas Rio Grande at CSU Bakersfield. Loyola Marymount at Portland. Washington at Arizona State on ESPN. Washington's favored by 1. This is the Dave Pasch Bill Walton special on a Saturday night. We're going to start getting these on Saturday nights now because it's past the Super Bowl and ESPN kind of wants ratings on the West Coast. Washington's a 1-point favorite. I think Arizona State needs this game more. Both of these teams, I think, are headed to the tournament. But if Arizona State can pull this off, then I think they're a sure thing. So give me Bobby Hurley's team to pull off the home upset and bounce back from that bad loss against Washington State. 11 o'clock, Santa Clara at San Francisco, and on ESPNU at midnight Eastern, UC Davis at UC Santa Barbara. Santa Barbara's favored by 6.5. They'll win and cover that easily. Santa Barbara's one of the more underrated teams of the mid-majors. NBA. The Pistons defeated the Knicks 120-103. The 76ers defeat the Nuggets 117-110 in Tobias Harris's debut. The Wizards defeat the Cavaliers 119-106. The Bulls defeat the Nets 125-106. The Bucks defeat the Mavericks 122-107. Bucks didn't have Chris Middleton in the game, and that was an impressive win. And I don't think the Mavs had Doncic either. The Warriors defeat the Suns 117-107. The Suns gave the Warriors a surprising game, to say the least. The Pelicans defeat the Timberwolves 122-117. Anthony Davis got booed, but got cheered on later throughout the game, just like Jimmy Butler in the Timberwolves' first home game earlier this year before Butler got traded. And the Kings defeat the Heat 102-96. In a surprising low-scoring game for the Sacramento Kings. Miami is a good defensive team. Today's slate at 5 o'clock, you have the Spurs at the Jazz. 7 o'clock, the Cavaliers at the Pacers. 7:30, the Raptors at the Knicks. The Hornets at the Hawks. 8 o'clock, the Clippers at the Celtics. That's a big game in Boston. That could have been the Saturday night game, but there's a more sexy game on the slate, which I'll get to in a minute. The Wizards at the Bulls. The Pelicans at the Grizzlies. And that sexy game tonight on ABC is the Thunder at the Rockets at 8:30. Mike Breen, Jeff Van Gundy, Mark Jackson on the call. Houston's a 2-point favorite. These two teams played on Christmas Day, and James Harden put up a masterpiece of a game, which started his incredible run. I think the Rockets are tough to bet against at home. I learned that when I picked Oklahoma City to win on Christmas. Oklahoma City actually closed as a favorite in that game on Christmas Day. But I think that the Rockets are the better side here, laying the 2 points. I'm going to say that the Rockets win between 5 and 7 in what should be a great game. All the Saturday night games have been good this year. Although Lakers-Warriors got out of hand late, Warriors-Celtics was great. The Celtics, I thought, should have won that game outright. And obviously the Lakers-Rockets game without LeBron James was a fantastic game, too. The Rockets pulled off that great comeback and won in overtime. And then at 9 o'clock, the Magic at the Bucks. Only one game on the NHL slate last night. The Hurricanes defeated the Rangers 3-0. That was the game in which, before, the Rangers honored the 1994 Stanley Cup winning team. Nearly the entire team was there. Sam Rosen and John Davidson did the Master of Ceremonies. They were excellent. And then they had guests in the booth, meaning Rosen and Joe Micheletti, throughout the game. Davidson actually came in during the second period. Eddie Olczyk came in the first period. It's forgotten, sort of, that he was on that 94 Rangers team because he was a role player on that team and didn't see much playing time. But they had him in the booth, and he actually called some of the first period as well. He was in the booth most of the first period, and he actually called some of it as well because Rosen and Micheletti wanted him to do it because they know Edzo calls the games on NBCS and NBC for hockey. He's their lead guy there. And then, obviously, he's the Blackhawks color analyst as well. And then in the third period, they had in Howie Rose, the ex-Rangers radio announcer. And then he went on to do the Islanders on TV, and then now he does the Mets on the radio. And that was a fun listen as well. Today's slate, you have 1 o'clock, the Kings at the Bruins, the Red Wings at the Sabres, the Wild at the Devils, the Avalanche at the Islanders, the Ducks at the Flyers. 2 o'clock, the Jets at the Senators, the Predators at the Blues. 4 o'clock, the Stars at the Coyotes. 7 o'clock, the Maple Leafs at the Canadiens, the Penguins at the Lightning, the Panthers at the Capitals, the Sharks at the Oilers. 10 o'clock, the Flames at the Canucks, and the Blue Jackets at the Golden Knights. Now my best bet of the day, brought to you by FanDuel. I did not hit on the best bet last night because the Brooklyn Nets took a loss at home against the Chicago Bulls. That was a really bad loss for Brooklyn in what was Karis LeVert's first game back. So I understand for the Nets if there was some emotion there, and I guess they looked past the Bulls a little bit. You can't do that if you're fighting for an Eastern Conference playoff spot. That was just a debacle for Brooklyn, and that's what cost me my best bet from yesterday. Now today I'm going to put in some college basketball. I'm going to put in Bucknell, North Carolina, Kansas. Don't feel super about Kansas, but I'm going to do it anyway. Vermont, who I feel really good about. Syracuse, Colgate, Michigan State. Don't feel good about Michigan State either. Ball State, Sacred Heart, Buffalo. The priorities of this is that you have to be a double-digit favorite at home, preferably. Sometimes road if the home team is really, really bad and the road team is really, really good. So this is sort of, would be like if Duke was at Georgia Tech or something like that. North Carolina A&T, Northeastern, and Tennessee. I'll throw Radford in there too. And I'll do Montana State and NC Central. That's 15. I'm going to wager 80 cents to win $2.78 with a payout of $3.58. That's it for today. I'll be back tomorrow recapping all the games from college basketball, NBA, and NHL. Look ahead to tomorrow's games. I'll talk about the top 16 seeds revealed that CBS is doing this afternoon. I'll go over that. I'll do power rankings for the NBA post the trade deadline and a lot more. And any news that breaks, obviously, we'll talk about as well. Hope you guys have a great day, everybody.